is way too much damage. Stop him with the block! He found charge jump!
and he found
wow.
Wow.
Oh, what?
He gets out!
Somewhere there's a covert muffin just applauding this seed.
Holy crap.
Oh man, this is gonna come down to execution in the final escape, isn't it?
Sure is.
Every seed
Our
does.
favorite phrase.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer tournament. This is the third round of the preliminary matches, and today we will be showcasing two top-of-the-class runners, Tritonite versus nfnite. I am Mad Insane, and we'll be doing commentary, and I'm joined today by Romulus. Rom, do you want to talk a bit about our runners for this match?
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Today we have two very talented runners, both experts when it comes to Ori Randomizer and other speed running categories of the game. Tritonite is one of our highly anticipated runners when it comes to the randomizer, and with him, Infinite, another top runner as well. This will be a very tight race, I believe. What do you think, Matt?
Absolutely. Both of these runners have just throughout like all sorts of races that we've done throughout like the weekly events and all sorts. These runners have been consistently like top of the bunch. They are incredible runners. Uh, we have Tritonite, who is a player who uses keyboard mouse as an input method, and we have Infinite, who uses a hybrid method. So it's not going to be as if there's any form of like real input method disadvantage here or anything. This is just going to be hopefully a really clean, exciting to watch match.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point about the differences in their input method. A lot of runners do opt to use controller, which for the most part is very comparable to keyboard mouse. However, for certain seeds, which require the use of an ability called bash and grenade, that can be difficult for those controller players because they have to manually aim each of those grenades. But today, that will not be a problem for either of our two runners that we will be featuring today. But we have many other runners that will be participating as well. I believe we have about 22 total entrants today, which is quite a bit.
Yeah, so as this is the preliminary matches, anyone in the tournament can participate in these matches, and they will be seeded based on how well they do in their best matches of how many of these they participate in. So even if they have a rough time today, they can still participate in the other preliminaries and still do well, get a good seed. And it looks like we are starting off the match now.
Yeah. Getting right into the action. So, Mad, what are you looking for when it comes to openers? What kind of skills or pickups do you want to see at the start?
Well, I'm always fond of a bit of an unconventional start, so maybe something a bit odd, like a dash to start, and then see what they can do with just dash. Because I know that these two runners are going to be able to come up with all sorts of fancy ways to use some of the more unconventional skill sets to get places that certainly not necessarily expected of you. Because this randomizer has, for those unfamiliar, you have logic in place to tell you where the different things need to be. You can't have, say, a key behind a door that the key opens and such. And so we're starting off with charge jump. Of course, it's in a spot that every runner will find. So this is a skill that gives you lots of verticality. Do you want to talk a bit about charge jump?
Sure, yeah. Charge jump is one of those skills that most runners absolutely love to see at the start. It lets everyone get to a number of different pickups very easily and also deals a lot of damage to enemies, which is Very nice at the start when it could be a little difficult traversing. And right at the start, both of our runners opting to go down to Blackroot without even heading over towards the few pickups towards the Keystone door leading into Glades. What do you think of this play, Matt?
I think this is an interesting play. They both know that they can clear Blackroot no problem with just charge gym. It's fairly fast to do, lots of pickups you can check, and this is one of those areas that even if you get some like really fast skills, there's very few skills that actually speed up this area, and so it's often a really good pick to do nice and early if you just get a skill that you can do it in a pretty good speed. And charge jump is great here, although it's somewhat risky. I don't expect these runners to have any problems with it. To get these precise charge jumps off, but they can allow. Normally, you'd have to like take the orb on a journey through all of these platforms, but because of charge jump, they can skip all of that and they can just go straight up with no problems. It saves them a bunch of time compared to doing it in the expected vanilla way.
Yeah, both our runners making very quick work of this intro section to Blackroot, and now they're just gonna ride on these platforms to pick up our first skill tree, which will be Dash. So our runners need to visit a total of about 9 or 10 skill trees, depending on how you want to define the tree, where normally in the vanilla game you would find a different skill required for completing the game. So once we get to this first skill, we hopefully will get some nice progression or a hint at where we might need to go next.
Now, both of the runners, Tritonite has just done it, and Infinite is doing it now, are doing a cutscene stack using a save anywhere trick in which you open the ability menu and then do some menu storage, and then you click on an ability to save the game during a cutscene, and this allows them to stack 2 cutscenes on top of each other, the one from the dash tree and the one from ending the light cutscene, and this skips the second cutscene, allows them to move on much faster. Oh, yeah,
there's
Swamp TP, right?
Yeah, that's a big find. That will allow our runners to access a whole new section of the game, which is definitely accessible with just charge jump. So that opens up quite a bit of the game. But also worth noting, Triton and Infinite both have 2 keystones, so the option does exist to continue to the left towards where wall jump tree normally is. So it would be interesting to see where our runners decide to go.
I'm curious which one they'll pick. I would be somewhat tempted to go towards the wall jump area, but we'll have to see which one they go for. They're both jumping over the boulder here. Don't have to do any fancy tricks to make it not dangerous. I'm sure they're gonna clear this area fairly quickly, and then we'll get to see where they go.
Yeah, normally our runners come by this area whenever they complete the dash tree. However, a lot of the times it is not in logic to do so. But today, since our runners have charge jump, all of these pickups, except for the one that Triton just picked up, that 288 experience, are in logic, which is very nice.
Okay, it looks like Tritonite is going to the left, and I'm expecting Infinite to do the same. Yes, because if they were gonna go for the swamp path, I'm sure they would have used the teleporter in Blackroot. They're deciding to go to the wall jump tree, as both of these paths are opened up by the skill sets and keystones that they have at the moment, and they can clear this area pretty thoroughly. So
Yeah,
I think this is a solid choice for them.
absolutely. And especially since they have 2 remaining keystones after opening this door, they could even continue up towards Spirit Caverns if they really wanted.
Yeah, which is a very, very dense area. It's full of lots of very fast pickups, and they can get all of the pickups in there as they have the verticality from charge jump to get to the one awkward pickup in there.
Yes.
And so we see that Tritonite has gained a very slight lead, nothing too significant from Infinite, just from Infinite having a very minor death to a fish in some water. They're splitting off their path a little bit. Infinite is going straight for Spirit Caverns, whereas Tritonite is
Yeah.
going down towards the wall jump tree. I think I like Infinite's path quite a lot here.
Ooh,
Oh, but
there's
never mind.
dash.
Tritonite has gained dash, so
And
whoever
double
he was
jump.
right. Wow, this is a
Wow.
very, very fast start.
Oh yeah. With just these skills alone, much of the game is blown wide open. I'm sure Triton's feeling very comfortable with all these pickups. I'm sure his movement will be very, very easy from here on as he continues down towards wall jump tree.
So,
So
do
this
you
will
want to
be
talk a little bit about what dash can achieve for these runs? Because this is absolutely one of the most powerful skills in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Dash is, in my opinion, the best skill in the game. It allows you, of course, to move very quickly along the ground. However, once you put in enough ability points into the skill tree that you might see our runners opening up when they go to their rekindle, they can level up towards charge dash, which allows them also to get some verticality based on where their enemies are at. So it allows a lot of different options for moving around. As well, it also partially unlocks another skill tree in the game down towards the light grenade tree. However, our runners will need to be able to break the floor in order to get there. But they do have dash, so and not only are they going to be able to access that area soon enough, but they have lots of speed available to them. And both these runners, I'm sure, are very appreciative of that speed.
And the other skill that they got is very much one that looks far less powerful than it is. Double jump is an incredibly useful skill. It's very, very comfortable to use. Makes things feel a lot nicer to move around, and also it can be used as a method of wall interaction. If you are alternating going off and on the wall, you can use it to climb up walls, as we're going to see Tritonite do right here.
Yeah.
It's a little difficult to do, but I'm sure that these runners are very well practiced in this. Oh,
And there's
Tritonite's gone
dash.
back. Well,
Oh my gosh, this seat is loaded.
well now they found Bash, and it looks like Infinite is heading to the spot where Bash is as well. I would consider this to be a go mode seed. Really, they're up to the point in which they can finish everything if they want to. They just need some ability points and some resources. So we're gonna have to see
Yeah.
how these runners decide to handle this. So they're gonna start trying to really just go for all of the trees as fast as possible, skipping as much stuff as possible, or they're gonna try and just get lots and lots of resources as fast as possible. Maybe they'll try and search for extra stuff, but I don't expect either of them to be needing to get extra skills here. But of course, it would be a luxury to do so and would speed up some less pleasant tricks that they may have to do later.
Yes, very true. However, depending on where our two important dungeon keys are, they still might need a couple more skills, but if both of those skills, or both of those dungeon keys rather, are in nice locations, they could absolutely complete the seed right now with what they have. And we see Triton heading over towards the swamp area, where we normally find the stomp ability. This is a solid play. Normally, this area is a little bit later in the seeds where you'll stop by. But while he's doing that, Infinite is heading down in towards Grotto, which is a very pickup dense area. So he'll be able to get a lot of checks in real quick, which could very well help him find what he might need to complete the seed. And we get our first clue on the left side there from Triton as he completed his third tree. And we see that Water Vein is in Grotto, which is where Infinite is right now.
This is interesting because from like a routing point of view, Tritonite now has a little bit of an advantage because I expect what will happen here is Infinite will go down to the double jump tree, and then he'll see that Water Vein is in Grotto, and unless it is one of these two pickups, which it could well be, I expect he'll want to alt art out and then go and search the rest of Grotto again. So then he's having to repeat some of his path. But here, Infinite is not having to repeat his path. He's going straight into Grotto, checking the stuff here as fast as possible, and he's not having to backtrack at all, which is just something that it's very hard to predict that this would happen. So it's not anything against Infinite's play here. It's just this is the way the seed has worked out for the runners.
Yes. Notable as well, we also see Tritonite on your left side. He now has 4 energy cells, which can be pretty significant. And actually, we see Infinite finding a 5th. Matt, do you want to talk about what that could mean for where some progression might be?
Well, I'm not sure they'll be looking for much progression, but it does unlock the 4 energy doors throughout the world, which are very valuable pickups often. There's very frequently skills hidden behind them.
Yes.
There's a couple that are very difficult to unlock without the 4 energy, but most of them can be bypassed in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure there's any in Grotto that they will have trouble with here. I see that Infinite has got a charge dash, and a charge dash means that they can break the blue plants now, which are all throughout Grotto. They are all over the place. There are so many plants in Grotto, and the only way to break them is through one of the charge skills, except for charge jump for some reason. Oh, Infinite's found water vein.
Oh, very nice. That was in the poisoned water, right?
That was in the poison water.
Ooh, that's spicy.
Tritonite is heading there. Oh no, he's going the other way first. We'll
He's
see
not gonna
how
see it.
late he checks it. This will be interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll come back for that area soon enough. He does have enough energy where it makes sense for him to go by that area one more time. And we see Infinite actually taking his water vein, and he's going to go place it in the Ginzo tree, where he's going to hopefully find some more progression, maybe.
Oh, Infinite's doing the. Oh, I love this trait. He's doing the game storage entry into the Ginso tree, which skips the cutscene, using some funky menuing, shall we say, to skip the door and opening animation with a reload, and then you can skip the actual cutscene of showing off the start of Ginso as well, so you can save a bit of time there. I don't think it saves that much time, but it is certainly a fun trick to see. Oh, clean water for Tritonite.
Very nice. So now, by finding clean water, that does tell Triton. Oh my gosh, hold on, let me interrupt myself. That is Sunstone. That is massive.
That's not the key he expected to find here, but it is certainly a key.
Yeah, Tritonite now has both important dungeon keys, and that is really huge. A good part of Ori Randomizer is knowing what dungeon keys you still have yet to find. And now with Triton having both of them in tow, I believe Tritonite is in full go mode.
Yeah, I mean, he also has the like big problem often for like this skill set is the final escape water and having to swim through that. But since he has clean water, that's not a problem anymore. So the low health is obviously not necessarily a fun thing to deal with, but it's something that he may well choose to just start really just skipping absolutely everything, only getting things that are maybe 1 second off the path.
Yeah, I do anticipate Triton will probably skip a good number of things. I'm sure he feels very comfortable with what he has. And as well, Infinite is now out of Ginzo Tree. Looks like he might be heading up towards perhaps the stomp area, I believe. That looks like it's where he's going.
Yeah, I think he's heading towards the Ginso tree. He has the water vein, doing the same trick as Infinite with this. Oh, he's not doing the game storage. He's just doing the go store.
Both valid
Infinite.
entry method.
Yeah, Infinite is doing another fun trick, which is the swamp entry, getting this frog over, but only has to do a little bit of it as he has charge jump, so he can skip the second half of kiting this frog shot.
Yeah.
It's a mapstone from a mapstone. What a very exciting endeavor that one was.
And also notable, earlier we did see at the double jump tree that we have wind restored, as you can see on Infinite screen with the wind blowing upward there, which might be notable if we find another skill called Glide. However, we have not seen that yet. So very well...
Currently, it's completely useless.
Yeah. It's just nice for visual taste, visual context.
Absolutely.
And I'm
So-
surprised we actually see Triton still checking things in Ginzo, even though he has pretty much everything he needs. It's an interesting play. Although he
I'm
might need more
expecting that
keystones.
I'm expecting maybe he's searching for health cells is the main thing, because he only has 4 HP. And so does Infinite, which is not very much health. You're going to very, very quickly reach the point in which everything one-shots you, and that is not going to be a good time. He's found a
Yes,
mega
very
health,
true.
but that is only temporary health. You only get once you've used it, it's gone. And so that is not going to be enough for to carry throughout the entire run, unless somehow he doesn't get hit for the rest of the run, which, who knows, with runners of this caliber, it's certainly possible.
Very true. And also on our right side of the screen, we did see Infinite collect his 6th tree, and on every 3rd, 6th, or 9th tree that you collect in this game, you'll get 1 hint for where a dungeon key is. However, on Infinite's side, he got, on his 6th tree, he got the hint for the Gumon seal, which usually is a pretty worthless item. So Infinite has no idea where Sunstone is, and he won't know for another 3 more trees. That's pretty significant.
Yeah, and especially as that could change the way that he makes the decisions, and he might decide to try and leave Misty to be the last tree, because you don't want to have to go backtrack through the entirety of Misty, really, if it turns out that it's in the second half of Misty. And although we
Yes.
know where the Sunstone is, Infinite has no idea. It could be anywhere, and so we'll have to see how this will affect the routing decisions that he makes.
Yeah, it's definitely nicer when you know where it is, and by Infinite not knowing, he'll have to do a bit more checks just to cover his bases and make sure he doesn't miss it. We know that he will not miss it unless he decides to return to Grotto.
Yeah,
me see.
and we can also maybe think that if we're thinking what he could be thinking, he could be thinking, oh no, what if it could be a grenade or stomp locked pickup, but simultaneous
Yeah, nice
stompless
think there.
tricks going on here. Wonderful to see. Synced up.
Yeah, that's very, very pleasant to see. A nice entry method for both runners. To collect the feather, not necessarily a tree, but in all intents and purposes, it is a tree. And so now we might see a divergence again from our runners. They have a couple options here, and I believe they might head towards Misty, but I'm not sure on Infinite's side, since he does not, of course, know where Sunstone is. Like you were mentioning earlier, he might want to save that for later.
Yeah, we'll have to see which path he's going. It looks like he's going down, picks up a health cell. That I'm sure that's a bit of peace of mind there, getting that
Yeah.
extra bit of health. It looks like he's maybe pathing into Sorrow, trying to take this frog up for the rocket jump.
Yeah, it looks like both the runners are going into Sorrow. Sorrow without Glide can definitely be scary, especially for this area where Triton is right now with all these spikes that deal a lot of damage. Since our runners are very low on health, a misstep could definitely waste a lot of time here, but Triton gets
And
through
he does
without
it
much of a
very
problem.
cleanly.
Yeah.
It uses some saves to make sure he gets those extra few hits in through a method called Zombie Ori, where you can save after you're dead, and then you'll have a bit of respawn and vulnerability to move.
Yeah.
And that lets him skip a much slower method of using the boulder. And this is all off the play of that mega health that he found earlier. Like, he wouldn't have been able to do that without finding that mega health. So he's using his resources very, very cleanly. Because if he'd have got hit and lost that mega health before then, he would have had to do a much, much slower method. And looks like Infinite's still going to go for this, even though it's going to be very tight to do with the amount of skill points he has.
Yeah,
But
this
it
is
should be possible, I think. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Gets it done. Despite the very low amount of health. Wonderful to see the level of precision on those jumps is very difficult to do. It's great to see them pull it off in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, that is by no means an easy area to traverse without Glide, but Infinite doing a very good job with it as well. And we see Tritonite approaching what will be his 9th tree here in a moment, the Climb Tree. And it looks like Infinite is going to be heading that way as well. Triton with a little bit of an advantage, knowing that he does not need to check absolutely everything in this area. But Infinite, still not knowing where that Sunstone is, unfortunately will have to check everything.
Yeah, and we see the runners are really having to make careful use of their skill points here. Is normally you'd be using your skill points to, you know, level up skills, but these runners are beyond such trivial means and are using it as a substitute for health all over the place here, getting through these difficult areas with minimum number of saves possible, minimum number of hits.
Yeah,
And,
very, very
Infinite is
impressive.
also going to have to do the same here with such a small amount of health. It can only get hit one time by these spikes before another hit will kill him, so he's got to be very careful. But he does have extra double jump and I believe extra air dash as well, which are 2 bonus skills added by the randomizer that give you, as they say, an extra double jump and an extra air dash.
Yeah, those are both 2 very comfort pickups to find, quality of life improvements, just to help them move a little bit more comfortably through Nibel.
Yeah, and Tritonite's just finishing up a somewhat difficult lore here from with a Frunky in Blackroot over to break the floor. As none of his skills are capable of breaking that floor normally, but you can do it with the Frunky instead. Manages to do it very cleanly.
Yeah, that was very impressive.
Just heading to, I believe this is the last tree for Tritonite.
Yeah. And now Infinite as well, finally seeing that Sunstone is in Grotto. You see him shaking his mouse over that. I'm sure he's not too pleased to see that he was checking a lot of stuff there and wasn't able to find it. So he will undoubtedly head that way here in a moment, although his camera seems to be misbehaving. There he goes.
I think we're going to be seeing Tritonite heading to the final escape here. This might be a somewhat difficult final escape. Yeah, he's heading to the swamp TP, which is what I'd expect for going to the final escape. Somewhat difficult escape here. Certainly nothing to be scoffed at going in here with this amount of resources. Most things will one-shot you. He's got to do this almost perfectly to be able to pull this off. This is basically the only chance that Infinite has really got here is Tritonite having trouble in this final escape or with the door warp that's coming up. You want to talk a little about how door warp works?
Sure. So door warp is a pretty precise trick. After you enter Mount Horu, the game will automatically save, and you have a pretty short window in order to exit the game. And then when you respawn in, if you enter the Mount Horu one more time, if you do it quickly enough, like Triton just did, you'll be warped right to the end of the dungeon, which is very, very nice, knowing that you do not need to complete the entire dungeon. And we will see Triton starting his final escape at 24 minutes. Just under 25 minutes.
An absurd time, really, for
Yes.
for getting to the final escape. I think most runners will be happily continuing along, maybe getting the 4th tree by now, but he's storming through. He's about to end the game, so we're going to see if he can do this. He's got to use his energy very carefully here, but he has plenty, so I don't think he's going to be too much of a concern. But he has to break all of the walls using Charge Dash. Cleanly gets off the wall. That's one of the hardest rooms, the elemental room, to do. He's heading through the zigzag area. The extra air dash makes that very easy and clean to do. Clean water means that it's not too much of a concern for getting through this section quickly. All he has to do is rocket jump off this fish.
Wow.
Ends off with a truly insane time, really.
That was
I
incredible.
believe that's going to be a 27-minute time, which is crazy, really. Infinite, it looks like he's picked up the Sunstone, and he's heading to his last tree. He's going to have to do this Frankie lore as well. So we're going to get to look at it a bit more closely. There's a few different methods you can do here. You can take the Frankie up and over. You can go manually across the crushes, but you can also just use dash to just stay quickly hop in and out of the Franki's range, so it will slowly hop towards you. Very much more safe method than the others, even though it may be somewhat slower, but it doesn't really matter that much. It's not much of a time investment really.
Yeah. It is a little. It can be a little difficult though. However, since if you are too close to the Frankie will jump higher than normal, and there's a lot of spikes in that area, and the Frankie may jump to his death when you definitely still want him to hang around for a little bit longer.
Absolutely, and these runners have really just made all sorts of tricks throughout this run look incredibly easy and clean. There's I don't think I've seen any major mistakes from any of the runners really. There's only been like maybe a couple of few second long unintentional deaths throughout the entire run. It's been very impressive to watch.
Yeah, they certainly put on a show for us today. Two very talented runners, like we were saying, and their time right now definitely shows that Infinite's going to get a very nice time as well. Probably sub 30, I believe.
Yeah, I hope so. Might be a little bit over 30, but we'll have to see how fast Infinite can do this and how many attempts
Yes.
this final escape takes. Because of course, this is absolutely not an easy escape to do. So I'm sure with Infinite's practice that he won't have much trouble with this.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the chat is pointing out, their difference in their time is due in part a good amount to the early Sunstone find from Tritonite, which allowed him to skip a lot of checks that Infinite unfortunately had to do, since he had to wait until very late in the run before he knew where his Sunstone was.
Yeah, and that is absolutely the bulk of the portion of time here, but there's also it comes down to some slightly what worked out to be slightly better decisions in the route for try tonight of which order of areas to do first. Obviously, there's a lot of debate on which areas are actually better. Infinite gets door very cleanly there, starting up Final Escape. There's a lot of debate in which areas are actually better to do first, but in this seed, it worked out to be the Tritonite route was extremely clean, and that takes a lot of skill to get to the point in which he's at, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tritonite, I know, does a lot of seeds. He's done a lot of practice for this tournament. He's done a lot of preparation, and it definitely paid off with his victory today in this race. And Infinite as well, I know, but based on his play, he's been putting in a lot of work too. This is a very, very nice showcase from him as well.
Infinite has dropped his last energy, which means he cannot do the fish strats here, which is he's gonna have to do some precise door. He gets the precise door bashes, so he's fine. It's just gonna be a little bit slower here, and just bash the rocks to get up. That was an excellent battle from Infinite there. There's a very precise double bash to do on the fish to get around the trigger if you don't have the rocket jump, because he'd use up all of the energy on trying to break the floors and a bit of faster movement, but manages to catch out on the mistake and makes it barely cost any time at all, which is absolutely the sort of thing that you want to see from these top tier runners. Is even if they do make a mistake, is being able to just recover from it almost instantly, and with minimizing any form of time loss from it as well.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very well done from Infinite.
Absolutely.
And he'll be finishing up with a time just over 31 minutes, which for a seed like this is very, very impressive. So GG's to both of our runners. And after Infinite crosses the line with Naru, which will stop his timer, we'll be getting hopefully both of our runners in for a quick interview.
Yeah, it looks like we have Tritonite on deck, ready to go.
Yeah, 31-13, GG. Actually, looking at the race time, looks like Tritonite did finish first out of all of our runners today, and Infinite placed second. So that was very, very well done.
Absolutely incredible performance from both runners. Lovely to see, and then you see these stats at the end, the pickups per minute of 3.25, which is very, very fast, very efficient, just movement, efficient route, efficient everything from
Yes.
Tritonite Gang, which is that you need to combine all of these things of like the really good execution, the really good route all together to get these incredibly low times of sub 30 minutes. I think this is this barely faster than all skills, or is this all skills? I
Yeah.
think it's very close, if not faster than the main category of this game as well.
Yeah, I believe Triton's time is maybe just a few seconds faster than what the current all skills world record is. So that's very, very impressive. We also saw on Triton stats a very low number of deaths, which is pretty significant as well. Dying when you're doing a randomizer can absolutely waste a good amount of time, and Triton kept his death count really low. And in fact, several of those were due to those zombie Ori strats that we saw, which were intentional deaths.
Yeah, I don't think I saw any major deaths from either runner really. It's just a few seconds lost each time. Okay, we have our runners here joining us. Tritonite. How are you
Yeah.
feeling after that race?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah,
Really fast
nice.
seed.
Yeah, you had a low 27 there. That was the fastest time for that entire race. How did you feel when you found Sunstone and Grotto without even knowing the clue for it?
that was a lucky find. Not gonna lie. Like, I'm pretty sure that shaved like maybe a minute and a half from my time. Maybe a minute.
True, because that did allow you to skip a number of things, especially in
Yeah.
Misty. Yeah. Infinite GG's. How did you feel about your run?
Yeah, pretty good. Finishing second is very good for me.
Yeah, very, very good time as well. How did you feel when you got to Misty, and after getting your climb tree, how did you feel when you saw that Sunstone was in Grotto?
Yeah, I was pretty frustrated because I was skipping pickups in Grotto earlier, and so heading there twice to get Waterrain and Sunstone was not good.
Yeah, well, a little bit unfortunate, but at least you found it pretty quick on your return trip. How did you guys feel, Infinite? How did you feel about getting all three power skills, charge, jump, dash, and bash, that early into the seed? How did that feel?
Very good. It was very fun movement. I was afraid I will mess something up, but luckily I didn't.
Yeah, you managed to get through everything just fine with minimal skills. It's very, very well done.
Okay, question for both of you. When you end up with like a super fast skill set like the bash, dash, charge, jump, how do you decide when to stop looking for things? What point do you decide, okay, I need to stop checking pickups, I just need to start zooming? Start with
For me,
Tritonite.
that point really was clean water. Because that means I don't really need health or anything, and I can deal with everything just by zombieing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Infinite?
Yeah, pretty much same. I was checking pickups for health or ability points, and the clean water was very nice.
Yeah, well, sorry, go ahead.
A question for Infinite. When you did the final escape, as you saw that you had run out of energy by the end, and by the time you'd got to the fish, and we saw you do a nice backup with the fish. Is that something you'd practice beforehand, or is that something you just pulled out in the moment?
I practiced it a very long time ago. I didn't do it for a very long time, so getting it was a surprise, kind of.
Yeah. very, very nice to see that pulled off, even when it's not necessarily 100% planned out.
Yeah, very well done by you on that. That was very, very pleasant to see. Anything else you guys want to say about the run before we close this race?
Not really.
No, I'm good.
Very nice. GG's to both of you. That was a very, very fun race to watch.
Okay, thank you.
GG.
GG.
Right, so we will be closing off this race, but we do have another race later today at 10 p.m. UTC, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'm sure you can convert that into your local time zone, where we'll be showing off Liberating number 4, and we'll be showcasing Oshimine versus Liftoff. So we'll hopefully catch you again there. And thank you to everyone who's helped out with this. We had 2Kill and Raziel on Truck today. We had Griffs doing the restreaming. We have Appletree doing shadowing. And of course, thank you to all of the tournament organizers who make this possible. And to SpeedGaming for allowing us to host it on their channel. Thank you very much to
Yes.
everyone. And we will see you again.
GG's. We will catch you guys later.